Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Now, as I've said before, I never tire of talking about my favourite Pink Floyd album, so here I am again with another video about Pink Floyd's The Final Cut. Yeah, I've posted a few videos now about The Final Cut. The first one was one which I called Perfect Album Sides, where I spoke specifically about side 2 of The Final Cut and the greatness of the songs on that side of the record. And I posted another where I spoke specifically about the cover art and the design and the inspiration behind that. And more recently, I think a couple of months back now, I posted a video which I called My Favourites from the Final Cut, where I listed, I think, 7 things: my favourite song, my favourite vocal, my favourite guitar solo, and my favourite lyric from the songs on the Final Cut. And when it came to choosing my favourite lyric from the Final Cut, for those who love this album like I do, then you'll know that that was likely a difficult decision, because every song on the Final Cut is loaded with emotive and thought-provoking lyrical detail. And so from there, I got round to the idea of making this video where I'll talk about my favourite lyrical part from each of the songs on the Final Cut. I think what I like most about Roger Waters' lyrics is he goes deep into the human psyche. He's a really considered and thoughtful writer. His lyrics are rich in empathy, here more so than anywhere else, I think. These lyrics detail the horror of war, the lies and deceit, the broken promises, and the idiocy of those playing this power game. And of course, the wreckage that leaves behind in the hearts and minds of, well, everyone. And these lyrics here are indeed an examination of the heart and mind of Roger.
We cannot just write off his final scene.
So the opening song on the album is called The Post-War Dream, and immediately Roger's pulling no punches as he roars the lyrics. Should we shout? Should we scream? What happened to the post-war dream? Oh Maggie, Maggie, what have we done? And he's addressing Maggie there, Margaret Thatcher, the then Prime Minister of Britain, who had recently sent the boys off to war in the Battle of the Falklands. But the idea of the post-war dream was, after World War II, there was a collective hope or dream that there was a future where there was no war. And furthermore, there would be advancements in social, economic and political systems. Track 2 is called Your Possible Pasts, and the lyric that I really like here is when Roger sings, "Stepping up boldly, one put out his hand. He said, I was just a child then, now I'm only a man." Now, of course, if you're thinking along the lines of the narrative of the Final Cut and this war-related theme, you could consider it to be relating to boys being sent off to war and then coming back as men. But for me, it captures the loss of innocence and the responsibility of moving into adulthood and the difficulties that go with that. Track 3 is called One of the Few, and the opening lyric goes, "When you're one of the few to land on your feet, what do you do to make ends meet? Teach." Apparently a lot of ex-servicemen returning from the war went into teaching as a way of making a living. And it's here that Roger reintroduces the teacher from the wall who is really strict with the children. But the lyric I really like here is, "Make 'em laugh, make 'em cry, make 'em lay down and die." And when I hear that lyric, I always think that, yeah, these kids will laugh, they'll cry, they'll go through school like everybody else, but one day they too may be sent off to fight some war and maybe never return. And that song is neatly followed by the next song, The Hero's Return. And I really like the way that Roger captures the teacher's frustrations here in the opening lyrics, where he sings, "Jesus, Jesus, what's it all about? Trying to clout these little ingrates into shape." Ingrate meaning an ungrateful person. And that's really great wordplay from Roger, but the lyric that I wanted to single out here is, "Though they'll never fathom it, behind my sarcasm, desperate memories lie." If we think about the psychological impact of war and the struggle that those soldiers went through, returning home and trying to adjust to a normal life, it's really difficult to imagine, but there was such little care for these heroes. Up next is The Gunner's Dream. Now, for me, this is some of Roger's very best writing. Roger writes from the viewpoint of the gunner whose plane has been bombed and he's been thrown out of the plane and he's floating down through the clouds. Memories come rushing up to meet me now. He's imagining his own funeral. He's imagining his own parents being at his funeral. And that part when Roger sings, as the teardrops rise to meet the comfort of the band, you take her frail hand, and then he roars and hold on to the dream. It's so powerful and so emotive, and I don't mind saying that I've had tears in my eyes many times listening to that song. The imagery is so powerful, and it's a poignant reflection and the centerpiece of the album for me. And on the next song, Paranoid Eyes, which closes side one of the record, Roger sings of the soldier turning to alcohol to somehow drown out these memories that continue to haunt him. You put on your brave face and slip over the road for a jar, fixing your grin as you casually lean on the bar. But my favourite part here is in the final verse, which again is so well written. You believed in their stories of fame, fortune and glory. Now you're lost in a haze of alcohol, soft middle age. The pie in the sky turned out to be miles too high. Every time I hear that, it leaves a bitter taste. It captures the betrayal of our soldiers and ex-servicemen everywhere. They were promised that they would be rewarded, homes fit for heroes, and all of the glory would be theirs. But the truth is, they were basically as good as put back out on the streets and told to fend for themselves. They were promised so much and got back so little, and I think that's the worst betrayal ever.
Behind my sarcasm, expert memories lie.
Side 2 opens with "Get your filthy hands off my desert," and there are a few lyrics to this song, only a few lines in fact, but I'll pick out the obvious. Galtieri took the Union Jack, and Maggie, over lunch one day, took a cruiser with all hands, apparently to make him give it back. But I do like the sarcastic tone in Roger's voice when he says the word apparently, suggesting that Margaret Thatcher's motives weren't entirely pure. On to the Fletcher Memorial Home, and again I'll say that these lyrics are among Roger's best. He certainly doesn't hold back in coming forward. These lyrics are full of anger. I really like the opening lyrics here. Take all your overgrown infants away somewhere and build them a home, a little place of their own, the Fletcher Memorial Home for incurable tyrants and kings. I rather like the way that Roger belittles these war leaders as overgrown infants and suggests that they are incurable. And I really like the part at the end of the song when Roger suggests that now that all of these war leaders are gathered together in this happy little home, now the final solution can be applied. There's a real biting menace to these lyrics, but as strong as the opinion is, it's one that I agree with. Southampton Dock is next, and again these opening lyrics are chilling but entirely relevant and so good. They disembarked in 45 and no one spoke and no one smiled. There were too many spaces in the line, and gathered at the cenotaph all agreed with hand on heart to sheathe the sacrificial knife. I particularly like that reference to too many spaces in the line. There were too many soldiers missing, so many didn't return. All agreed with hand on heart to sheathe the sacrificial knife, meaning to never take up arms and go to war again. But in 1982, the boys were sent off once again to fight the Falklands War. The title track is next, and this is harrowing. Roger portrays the soldier as desperate to the point of suicide. But here, in particular, I'd like to single out that section in the middle where Roger sings, "And if I show you my dark side, will you still hold me tonight? And if I open my heart to you, show you my weak side, what would you do?" And it's so moving when he sings those lines and asks the fundamental question, would you send me packing or would you take me home? And again, like the Gunner's Dream, I don't mind saying that has moved me to tears many times. Not Now John is next, and Roger shifts our attention here to what he sees as a potential trade war happening. Again, these lyrics are particularly hard-hitting and attack Thatcher once again. Roger roars, "We showed Argentina, now let's go and show these. Make us feel tough, and wouldn't Maggie be pleased?" It's fair to say that Roger did not agree with Thatcher's politics, and before the Falklands War, the Tory party and Thatcher were under severe pressure. I read that a huge factor was unemployment had hit 3 million for the first time. But after the Falklands War, Thatcher was regarded by many as a hero, and it gave her another term in charge and more chance to flex her political power, which, after listening to Not Now John, Roger was less than happy about. Which brings us to the closing song on the album, Two Suns in the Sunset. This here is my favourite lyric on the whole album, and it's the bit at the end of the song that closes the album. Ashes and diamond, foe and friend, we were all equal in the end. You can call me soft, sentimental, stupid even, but there's nothing between us. We're all brothers and sisters in this world. There's enough for everyone. We don't need this greed, power. We certainly don't need war.
We were all equal in the end.
Honestly, I'm not a guy who has strong political views, but the final cut has been a great education for me. I first bought and heard the album some 25 years ago now and have been mildly obsessed by it ever since. And even though I didn't know what all of the lyrical detail here related to, somehow, almost immediately, it rang true to me. I think the fundamental points made in the lyrics of the final cut are raw, honest, passionate and sincere. And that's why I love it so much. I won't go as far to say that Roger deserves a medal for his writing here, because let's leave the medals to the guys that really deserve them. But the power and sincerity of his writing here should be roundly applauded. Anyway, I've probably gone on for more than long enough, and if you made it this far in the video, then thanks for sticking with me. I appreciate it. But I hope that some of you enjoyed this video, and by all means, leave any thoughts and comments down below. Tell me to stop banging on about the final cut if you wish. But as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you for my next video sometime soon. Until then, bye for now.
In the bottom of our hearts, we felt the final cut.